get this show going one way or another. Another show, The Prospect. Every legend was once a prospect, regardless how you look at it. Yes, indeed. As everybody fill into the room, I want you guys to release the anger, release the frustration. You can come at me if you want to. We got to get this thing going. It is what it is at this point. Yes, indeed. So, I don't know, I forgot the number of this episode, but I got a trusty hand. Whoa.
Yeah, we're not doing Dallas Prospect Live in this case. We're just doing a recap here. So
wow, okay, go ahead, let's roll then.
Yeah,
go ahead and introduce yourself then, man. Let's get this thing going.
What's up, guys? This is DDP from the Dallas Prospect, and we got some Cowboys news to talk about. Nothing too crazy, unfortunately, but we have some thoughts after a game, a nice 24-13 butt whooping. We've got some thoughts, and here in a little bit, we're going to be joined by Big Game James as well. Might have Botch Lombardi in the house, so lots to talk about, lots to say. Yeah, how you coping, Law?
Oh man, it's one of those things where I consistently get some type of email or some type of inbox of somebody saying Cowboys suck, Dak Prescott suck. You know, I get all those information every day. So hopefully, and I mean hopefully, we can really turn this thing around and get things going in the right direction with a win this weekend. But before we go into the weekend talk, we got to talk about this previous game. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, I know you got the stats, man. Go ahead and lay it on me, man. Lay it on me.
All right. So where should we start? We got Dak Prescott going 19 for 34 for 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Both interceptions were deflected, although the second one was behind Jarwin. But one thing that troubles me most in this case is Dak having 3 games now with 160 yards, 160 yards, and 168. Dude's averaging like 163 for the season. He's got 2 touchdowns through 3 games, and now he's got 2 picks as well. He definitely had some passes in other games that could have been intercepted. So I just kind of look at it and think, man, this offense looks broken because even with its identity being built around the run, Zeke's carries have been 17, 15, and 16, I want to say.
Wow.
15 is the one I'm not dead set on. I think it was either 15 or 16 against the Giants, but 16 yesterday. And even in that regard, yeah, Zeke tore it up on the ground, 16 for 127 yards. Here's the thing, though. He also had several mental mistakes and blunders, right? You have not just the fumble inside the 10 after a 30-yard run. But you had, before that, in the first half, you had a touchdown pass called off because he stepped out of bounds. He had no sideline awareness. And then even though he caught the ball, broke 2 tackles and outraced everyone into the end zone, didn't count, didn't matter. Then later in the game, you had a situation where he's coming across the middle. Easy pass, easily gets a first down if he gets it, but he doesn't watch it all the way into his hands, drops the pass. And then I think he had one more incident late at the game where it was just basically garbage time and they're just trying to move the ball. And he steps out of bounds again before catching the ball. So I've been high on Zeke getting involved in the passing game for a year, and I feel betrayed right now.
He said the moment he catches the ball, he's out of bounds.
They finally go to him, and then he got to do me like that. I was like, come on, man. Come on. Killing my credibility out here.
It's crazy because we don't just like the Cowboys, guys. We love the Cowboys. And it hurt us when we lose because everybody give us a phone call. Everybody notice us out there, and they say, hey, when I came into the office this morning, all the co-workers like, how about them Cowboys? You know, they're rubbing it in on me. And one of the guys, he is still a fan. I don't know whether or not the Steelers are winning right now.
They're whooping up on them.
Oh, so he said, I'm gonna wait till tomorrow.
Yep.
Because the Steelers been playing poor as of lately, but now it seems like they're gonna win this game, right? So
yeah. Last I saw, they were up like 20.
Oh, I got another guy who's going to really can't cream me tomorrow when I go into the office, and it's one of those things where we lost. Even the janitor left a note on my desk saying, "How about them Cowboys?" So it gets crazy, man. But moving forward to Dak Prescott's play, it's been 11 games, right? 11 games. I saw I guess a stat out there that we are ranked dead bottom in the NFL as far as quarterback efficiency and passer ratings, and as well as offense in the last 11 games. So can we turn this around, man? Come on, man. What we can do, man?
Man, although we can point to things like the play calling being bad, we didn't run our first RPO until 7 minutes and change left in the game. That was one of the things that opened up the offense a little bit against the Giants in those first 2 drives the previous Sunday. We didn't break our first one out until I want to say 7:49 in the fourth quarter, and Dak had 2 carries for 21 yards. That's not good enough, but at the same time, although the coaching staff and the play calling have a share of the blame, by no means can you suggest it's not on the quarterback as well. Dak was awful again. He missed wide open guys. There were times where guys were standing there waiting for the ball. He either doesn't acknowledge them or he just keeps holding on to it. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's too much in his own head at this point where he's trying to find a way to make a bigger play. But even that narrative actually doesn't work because in his 34 pass attempts, not one of them traveled more than 15 yards through the air.
Not one, huh?
Not one. So what are we doing here? What are we doing? He has made himself into exactly what the narrative is from all the people who have doubted him from the start, which is Captain Checkdown. And, man, he doesn't throw to anyone who's not at least going at the line of scrimmage. Have you noticed that this year? Like, with the exception of, like, the Tavon Austin pass, if they're not coming back to the line of scrimmage, if they've already passed it, or, like, a check down to Zeke on 2nd and long or something like that, just something terribly predictable, he doesn't throw it downfield. And I don't know what it is. I understand this week being a little bit more worried dealing with Earl Thomas, and for good reason. Earl gets 2 picks in the game, and there's just a cruel irony to that. Man, do you remember me calling that? Oh, wait, you weren't on the show Thursday when I did the preview.
No.
I called that Thursday.
Shame on you, man.
Anyone in the comments can verify that. I did call that out, and I even said at the time, I was like, I hope I didn't just jinx this.
What's the lucky lottery numbers, Dan? God dog, DDP.
You want to know what's something else crazy, too? I also called Zeke Elliott's rushing total to the very yard as well. So I was 2 for 2 in that department. Man. I was like, God, 2 for 2 in the stat prediction. I was off on the score. I had Dallas 19-13. So didn't quite work out on that front. But either way, man, I don't know what's going on with the offense. It's a mixture of quarterback, coaching staff, play calling, all of that, and receivers. I mean, the receivers, they are open at times, and Dak's not hitting them, but there are other times where they're just not creating much separation, and this is where you want an alpha. Whether or not Dez Bryant was the Dez Bryant of old, he was at least an alpha out there who, if he didn't get the ball, he at least drew extra attention. I don't think they really have much of that right now.
Right. This is the thing, and I hate to say this because I fight for Dak Prescott. Everybody call me Dak Prescott apologist. Hey, they say, hey, man, you love Dak Prescott so much, why don't you guys get a room? They say that, you know.
Yeah.
And when Dak said in the interview, in the press conference, he said, hey, I just don't have a go-to guy. And I said, like, what? Come on. Didn't you just say that you want to spread the ball around and hit everybody that you can see out there and don't worry about a go-to guy? And now all of a sudden you need that go-to guy? And I'm sitting there saying to myself, man, my God. I do know that Dez Bryant is sitting back there sipping on his tea right now. And we know that it's one thing to lose, but it's another thing to lose without going out without a fight. If you're going to lose, then they say, hey, at least yell out, chirp, do something out there, chirping, do something, move some furniture around. Let us feel the emotions. And I think Cowboys Nation collectively, even though we can say that it's a distraction and all this, or a distraction or whatever, it still identify our pain. It identify our emotions, so we can say, okay, all right, that rah-rah feeling, we feel what Dez Bryant is feeling right now, you see. But it's one of those things where it's water under the bridge. I think that the temperament that Jerry Jones got out there and Jason Garrett, I don't think they backtrack and say, okay, well, Dez, we apologize. Let's bring you back in.
No, I think Dez burned that bridge with the whole shouting out and clapping back at guys like Sean Lee and some of the other veterans. I think that pretty well burned the bridge. And we'll get into the whole Sean Lee thing later because I think there's an interesting narrative worth looking at. But before we pivot off of that, here's a real stat that helps it pop for how inept the offense has been. This was the 6th time in 11 games they failed to score 14 points.
How many? 6 times and what?
6 out of 11 to score just 14.
Oh, wow.
They are averaging 13 a game right now. That's how bad the offense is. It's not just bad, it's abysmal. And you can look at other stats as far as the offense is concerned too. Do you know when the last time Dallas had a receiver go for 100 yards plus a touchdown?
Let me guess. Was that the Kansas City game? T-Wheel?
Nope, he didn't have a touchdown.
Yeah, he sure right had a goose egg all year.
Yep.
Dez Bryant, maybe?
Des Bryant at Pittsburgh, November 13th, 2016. Since that time, 111 other occurrences of 100 yards plus a touchdown have occurred around the league. Dallas hasn't had one since then.
This is total pandemonium.
Yep.
Oh, wow. So the thing that we're going to have to really figure out now down the line is I don't know what to say. This offense going to have to figure out how they can get back on the right page. I think that if Ezekiel Elliott didn't have his little hiccups, maybe we'll feel comfortable a little bit with this game. Maybe the score would have been different. I don't know if he don't fumble the ball and if he was stayed in bound. Maybe the defense can finally play with pin their ears back and just go after Russell Wilson. So maybe that can change a lot of things. Not trying to say that the fault is on Ezekiel Elliott, because we know that Dak
fair share of it is.
Yeah, fair share of it. Yeah. But we know that Dak Prescott got at least throw the ball down the field. No,
absolutely. And yeah, I mean, Zeke gives up the 1 touchdown by stepping out in the first half, and then the fumble inside the 10. Obviously, that wasn't going to be a touchdown play, but who knows what the offense could do at that point. But yeah, I mean, he's got his share of blaming it as well. But you want to talk about the offense getting on the same page. Man, I don't even know if that page is in the book anymore. I think someone tore it out and burned it, because this offense has not been the same since Atlanta last year. If you remember the game before that, Kansas City, this was the offense clicking on all cylinders, everything working in harmony. And it was like, okay, there it is. That's 2016 right there. And then Zeke had to serve a suspension. The Atlanta game happened. And now even with Zeke back, even with Tyron back, it's not changing a whole lot. Like the line isn't as good this year so far. Both Tyron and Lyle Collins are getting whipped. The running game isn't able to take over, because even though Zeke had an average of 7.9 yards a carry yesterday, he still only had 16 carries. He's failed to even reach 20 carries on the game or in a game this season. So it's all falling apart, and the play calling is then asking Dak to be a pocket passer when he has proven at every level that's not what he is. He can make some throws from the pocket, but you got to get him in rhythm, and you got to get the defense back on its heels a little bit. And until they do that, you're just throwing him out there to the wolves. And that's why he's getting sacked 4 or 5 times in a game. You know, he took some big hits against Seattle as well. And I think it's affecting him. It's affecting his confidence, how secure he feels in the pocket. And I think that's part of why he's doing so many checkdowns, is because he's afraid to really lift his eyes and look down the field. He's keeping everything right in front of him so he can see, okay, when do I need to run? You know, it's like a fight or flight kind of mode.
Well, yeah, before we go further into what Dak Prescott needs to do and to improve, I just want to give a shout out to those who are been, in the chat box. How disrespectful of me not to acknowledge you guys. But here we go. I got Lazy Dallas Cowboys Production, the first person to be in the chat box on the YouTube sides of the world. I have Ryan Kirk at the second place, and then I have Brian at third place. And hello, Miss Jackie. Thank you for tuning in too as well. Who do you have over there?
Let's see over here. I've got the first one I had was Teflon Breed. What's up? Stevie Mack. Gle. What's up, guys? Anthony Lusk and Torres Carson. What's good? Brett Bender. I see you. What's up? Those are the ones I see on the Prospect YouTube. I'm not looking at anything Facebook right now, but I can pull that up on my phone.
No doubt. And DeMarcus Stokes, thank you for tuning in. Kerry Teagle and Daniel, I thank all of you guys. We're live right now on the Dallas Prospect Facebook page, Big Game James page, as well as Law Nations and Phantom. I thank all of you guys for allowing us to talk to you guys about the mighty Dallas Cowboys and what we need to improve on. Do you have your resources pulled up yet?
I got the Big Game James page pulled up here. I see we got Jeffrey Chandler. What's up? Sean Hanna, James Smith, Harvey Key, Let's see here. Brandon Timmons, what's up? James Smith, G. Garcia, Jerry Estrada, man, he's got all kinds of people popping over here. What's up, guys?
Go. Shout out to y'all, man. Hey, this is the thing. We can get mad at the moon, but the moon still shines, right? There's nothing we can do about it. The moon is there. We can get mad at the sun rising, but that's just what the sun does. So what we got in mind, we have Dak Prescott. For once, we can say this. He's going to be the quarterback for the rest of the remainder of the year. We got Coach Garrett. There's nothing that we can do about that. He is the coach. So from a fan aspect, because nothing we say today is going to change anything. These are just all our opinions. The only way that you can hurt Jerry Jones is through his wallet. And I don't think that we have the power and the strength to shake off Dallas Cowboys, because we kind of drawn to it. We addicted to these Cowboys, silver and blue. We addicted to it, right? So this is the thing. We can only make, I guess, fantasy decisions on Dak Prescott. I would say this right here. The best thing that they can do for Dak Prescott is to maybe give him a college-style offense. Maybe roll him out, do more RPOs.
2016. Yeah.
Right. Just strap the playbook. I heard Jesse Holly from 105.3, the fans, mention the fact that with Jason Garrett's system, they need an X. In the same system that they're running, I know it's a hybrid of Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan, but if you look back at both of those guys' system, they always had an X receiver, right? They always had somebody who's physical, a dominant receiver that you can depend on with a decent running back. I think in the early years of Scott Linehan, he had a running back named Rob Smith or something like that for Minnesota Vikings when he played for the Minnesota Vikings. Shout out to Ohio State. I think he ran for that team. And then moving forward, they always had some type of running back, whether it be an Adrian Peterson or whoever he coached during that time, if he was coaching on that team or being a substitute coach.
I don't know if Linehan had crossover with Peterson in Minnesota. He was to Detroit by then.
Okay, then he had Megatron.
Calvin Johnson, that was his big weapon there. That was his big weapon.
And then we can already know what Jason Garrett got his offense from the 90s Cowboys. This team, as much as we love Troy Aikman and everything, Dak Prescott is not Troy Aikman.
No.
Troy Aikman was an accurate passer of the ball, first-round draft pick that I must add in. And Troy Aikman held on to the ball as long as Dak Prescott did. So the best thing that they can do with this offense right now is to call what's that guy that used to coach for Mississippi State, or if he's still coaching for Mississippi State?
I'm talking about Prescott's college coach, Mullins, who I think is at Florida now.
He coached Tim Tebow. He coached Alex Smith. And how ironic that Dak Prescott is the same quarterback, then is in the same wheelhouse as those guys. What's his name? Mullins. Okay, that's his name. Okay.
Or Dan Mullen, something like that.
Unless they just say, okay, Jerry Jones got the money. I do know, because coaches don't. They're not under salary cap. He can give him a call and say, hey, do you want to coach for the Cowboys offense? That's the only thing we can do. Or send scouts and send guys down there and say, okay, Dan, what did you do to help Dak Prescott out? What did you do to help Tim Tebow out? What did you do to help Alex Smith out? Can we copy those things and paste it over here with the Dallas Cowboys? Or can we just call the coach that coached Ezekiel Elliott from Ohio State? I forgot his name.
Urban Meyer.
See, you're good with the names over here. Because I think that they have a quarterback with a similar traits of Dak Prescott, if I'm not mistaken, when Ezekiel Elliott was playing up there.
Yeah, J.T. Barrett.
Right,
I'm just talking about the quarterback, but
yeah. I mean,
so here's my feeling on that. I still think that you can win with Dak Prescott, but here's where I've evolved more. I don't know if it's that I've evolved more on the subject, or if it's just that I feel it to a greater degree than I did before, even though I was aware of it before. While I think you can win with Dak Prescott, I think you have to have a very well-built, pretty much everything in place around him system, and let him complement the offense as opposed to being the driver. He doesn't have to be the engine, but he at least has to be the driver. And right now, Captain Checkdown, Dak and Dink, or whatever people say, I'm just at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm not willing to give this guy $20 million a year. I'm just not. And even if he was paying, even if he got $10 million and we got like what was perceived to be a great deal as far as a starting quarterback, if this is what they're going to roll out, I don't even want that. But I think the part of what I think could get Dak back to 2016 quality is you've got to change the system. And I don't think that the coaching staff that is in place right now can fix this. I really don't. I have no faith in this coaching staff, and my faith in Dak is quite shaken. I still think that there is something that can be salvaged from him, but I don't think it'll happen with this coaching staff. And that means either during the season we're going to have to see Jason Garrett fired, or we're going to have to see someone take the play calling out of Linehan's hands. And for that to happen, I don't know what it's going to take, because Garrett is still reaffirming today to the media he has not had his faith in Linehan shaken in the slightest, and that's just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, and I guess moving Scott Linehan into the press box there, supposed to help out, supposed to be able to see things clearly.
Move him to the unemployment line.
And then next in line we have Kellen Moore, right? So he's supposed to be like the third assistant
Kellen
coach.
Moore's the here's the thing. I'm not worried about Kellen Moore, honestly, because he's the quarterback coach, but Dak was already starting to go into the tank before Kellen Moore got hired for the quarterback coach job. I look at it as, or are you talking about from play calling standpoint?
Yeah, I think how the system works. Where
okay, I get
the quarterback coach is the third. If something happened,
Okay, I thought you were talking about if he was partly to blame, and I was saying like, no, I don't think he's to blame in this case. But that's not to say I think he's a great coach. I think we have no idea what he is.
Yeah,
he's been a coach for 3 games.
But the problem is the coach that's coaching you, I guess, to help you out is the guy that you outbeat or outperform. And I think there was a clip, it was a meme out there saying that this guy is really the problem. And they had Dak Prescott sitting next to Kellen Moore. So I always go with this saying right here, and trust me, you can read a book and you can study a book all day on how to swim. But if you've never been in that water and you never swam, if you never won a race in that pool, there's no way that you can really teach somebody how to swim. Especially
you only know it in theory.
Yeah, in theory, and say, well, when a shark comes your way, you do this and that according to this book. And it's just one of those things where I think what helps a young quarterback out is a veteran guy in your ear. Regardless, even if it is a Mark Sanchez, even if it was in 2016 Tony Romo. Now we see how valuable Tony Romo was to this team, because he can see things happen before they occur, and he can tell them, hey, in this cover one look, Dak, regardless of the situation, throw the ball deep. And we didn't see that all game last game. At least attempt to throw the ball deep. That will open up the offense, and we just don't know that just by Tony Romo or Mark Sanchez, whoever, telling Dak Prescott, because I don't know if Kellen Moore said that to him. I can't be Nostradamus over here. But just by me saying this, maybe that could have changed the complexity of this game, and they'll open up the defense, and you'll see better, even more runs out of Ezekiel Elliott. It could be quite possible.
Could be, but they got to fix the play calling for sure. Dak had less than 50 yards passing at half, and we were down 17-3. So a lot of those yards he picked up, of his 168, which is already a super low total, they came on those last 2 drives, which were effectively garbage time after the second pick. So I don't know. Well, no, the second pick came on the second to last drive. But even still, the last 2 drives are where the bulk of those yards came from. His numbers really are really bad, but we've seen him throw for over 300. Yeah. Like, to get to his last 300-yard game, you only go back seven games. Like, he did it in the latter part of last year. New York last year, he went for over 300 yards. He's capable of doing it. It's just one of those things that, in that case, he got an 83-yarder off of, I think, Rod Smith, who was just completely left open for a 7-yard pass and then 70 whatever yard run. So it's just something that they're going to have to figure out. And the play calling is super vanilla. I think they have no faith in Dak throwing the ball downfield. We've always heard that, oh, he's a gamer. He doesn't do well in practice, but in games he turns it on. Man, he has not turned much of anything on since Atlanta last year. Even that Giants game, yeah, he threw for 300, but it wasn't like he was slinging it all around the field. He hit on a couple deep balls that inflated the numbers. And because I think that game he had a 50-yarder or like a 47-yarder to Dez and that 83-yarder to Smith I mentioned.
Right.
So that's where the bulk of that comes from. But they're going to have to figure out something because this offense, it looks as broken as I've ever seen it. And, yeah, they probably could have still won yesterday had Zeke not had one of those two mistakes. So let's just say take only one away to try and keep it a little more neutral or realistic. You know, it's not pie in the sky saying like, oh, well, if he had just stayed in bounds and spun off that guy instead of fumbling, maybe he goes in. You know, it's not trying to do that. But if you give back one of those plays where he doesn't make the mistake and then the defense prevents one of its two occurrences where it just broke on the play, Kayvon Frazier, you know, he's great playing up around the line of scrimmage, but that's one of those things I worried about was what happened when he got caught having to cover deep, and he got burned on that play, that Tyler Lockett 51-yarder. And that was, I mean, it wasn't the only time the defense broke. They had one more later in the game for a touchdown, but that was the significant one that kind of signaled like, all right, well, if we're giving those up, we don't have much of a shot. So it was a winnable game, even with as bad as the offense was. That's why it's so frustrating, because you're like, dude, you could easily correct this and be a 3-0 team right now if the offense wasn't just completely inept.
Yes, indeed. So when you're talking about the Browns got a better record than us, yes, that drive home's everything. Yeah.
Baker.
Baker Mayfield. Yeah, he is nice. Lightning in the bottle, right?
It's my dude.
I know. You've been saying that, you know, you were trying to, you know, figure out a way that we can move up last draft. So if we do this, we can do that.
I wasn't thinking all the way to 1 when I heard the talk of him at 1. I was like, all right, let me back off that notion.
But then
when we were thinking he was going to go around 10, I was like, hey, if he falls to 10,
right. Wouldn't that be nice if Baker Mayfield was on his team? Not trying to throw our current quarterback under the bus, but you can only imagine, you know, the guy's nice, you know.
Dude's got some swag.
Yeah, and then he got some swag. I don't think Dallas can obtain a guy with that much swag.
I don't think Jason Garrett would know what to do with a guy with that much swag. Oh, my God,
he wouldn't know what to do. The marketing.
How's it going, guys?
I told you the next – how you doing, guys? He did the exact same thing, boy.
Yeah.
But that was just – I did hear that you made it like I guess Baker Mayfield to the Jaguars explanation.
I did make that video, and then like a month later they extended Blake Bortles, which I was baffled by. But I thought that would have been a perfect fit. But you know, you end up going number 1. Obviously, everything's going to be off the table. Yeah. So, all right. So we understand about this offense, but we can bring this home right here. The explosive guys that I'm going to bring out, the intangibles, I guess. But this is something we can really see, though. So this is not intangible, guys. I normally do my intangible moment of players that just like under the radar. But this is the thing. The explosive guys that we do have on offense, because I do know that we love to be negative, but the explosive guy that I do see is Tavon Austin. He's our best wide receiver. 5'8", 178 pounds, give or take, right? He's our best guy on the offense as far as wide receiver. Then you have Ezekiel Elliott. I think that this game, normally the third game of the season be his like lights out game. But I guess now we can look at this game coming around the corner, fourth game, will be his like, okay, this will be his, okay, I'm going to really show up and show out game, right? So we do know that those two guys are explosive. So if I'm Jason Garrett, if I want to keep my job here at the Cowboys Nation, you know what I mean, I will figure out a way to not keep number 10 on the bench, and I'll figure out a way to get Ezekiel Elliott involved in this game with more than 16-plus carries. What are your thoughts? 16-plus carries, yeah, he's absolutely got to get more carries than that. I mean, again, he went 7.9 a carry in this game. The problem was the offense had been so bad up until that point. They fell behind by, 17 at one point. They're down, I mean, they fall behind, 17, 11 points, kept bouncing back in there. But because they fell behind double-digit, they start throwing the ball more, and then the defense breaks a couple times. That makes it even further of a climb. And so they didn't want to run the ball as much. But that said, they still always ran the ball on first down, even when they were down, double-digit points for the entire second half. So they need to get more carries, but they also need to try and he broke a couple runs, which pushed his numbers up nicely, but he had a lot of runs of just 2 and 3 yards where he was just running into a brick wall because they knew every first down it was him right up the middle, and he was going to get popped. Someone was going to meet him at the line, typically Bobby Wagner. So they need to get the number up, sure, absolutely, but it's also a matter of just trying to use him in a way that's a little bit different. Obviously, they've tried to get him involved in the passing game this week, and it didn't work. Maybe that is an indictment on my quest for him to get involved in that. Maybe there is something where just in terms of spatial awareness of where he is on the field, he's not apparently that great. But it's still one of those things that they need to find ways to change up how they use him, even if it's just the scenarios in which they use him. Don't automatically make every first down start with a run with him up the gut, because you're going to you're basically wasting a down. You're going to end up in 2nd and 7 or 8 or something like that, and then they're going to throw an incomplete pass or whatever. 3rd and long has been the bane of this offense.
Right, and there's a stat out there as far as first downs when the team opening up their drive, and running out of first down is one of the worst things you can do out there as far as from the stats aspect of things. It's the worst thing you can do for your offense. The best thing is the percentage is showing that you should pass out a first down and then worried about the run on the back end of it. But the Cowboys' first possession, they actually line up in 13 personnel, and they ran out of that formation with 3 tight ends. And everybody and their mama, uncle, cousin knew that the Cowboys were going to run the ball, and they got that 1 yard and that 2 yard that you was talking about out of first downs.
Yep. So. Yeah, Lyle Collins had a bad day. Tyron Smith had a bad day. Man, I'm still trying to figure out Lyle Collins at right tackle. I still don't see it, man. I'm really perplexed by that decision on their part, just because it's like he looked so much better when he was playing guard. Now, again, he was playing guard when he was in the case of where we have Connor Williams. He was surrounded by Travis and Tyron, so it protected him better. So maybe that inflated it, but I don't know, man. I just see him getting beat a lot, and he gave up a couple sacks yesterday. I see someone in the comments, Justin Coral, saying we had a 12.82 sack rate yesterday. That was the 2nd worst in the league this week. So here's the flip side of that, though. On the opposite side, Seattle came into the game giving up more sacks than anyone in the league. They had given up 12 sacks through 2 weeks. Right. And that was 6 to the Bears, 6 to, I can't recall who they played in week 1. Was it like San Diego? Or, excuse me, the Chargers of Los Angeles? I can't recall. But regardless, they had given up 6 and 6 in their first 2 weeks. Dallas came into that game yesterday as the team with the 2nd most sacks behind the Chicago Bears. Bears had 10, Cowboys had 9 entering the game. Dallas only got Russell Wilson twice. And the second time was even kind of an iffy got, because it was a designed run where he just got like half a yard short of the original line of scrimmage from Jalen Smith pulling him down. But the other one where you had DeMarcus Lawrence and Sean Lee get to Russell and wrap him up, that was pretty much a house blitz. Right. So you sent the house. That's really the only effective sack they got on the day. And Seattle, this is another thing I said, man. I said that even though Seattle had given up 12 sacks, I didn't think it was, based on how those sacks occurred, I didn't think it was something that was, from a technical standpoint, a huge issue for them. I felt like there were some scenario-based cases that affected it and just some things that could be easily cleaned up, and it looks like they were yesterday. So that's something for Dallas, only getting 2 sacks despite being the 2nd highest and, facing what it looked like a perfect matchup for Dallas, and they absolutely failed to exploit it. You have Rod Marinelli after the game talking about how someone's got to help out as far as getting pressure, because all they're doing is chipping DeMarcus Lawrence. Someone else has to be able to get home. You got guys like Randy Gregory in the game. He recorded a goose egg on the box sheet. No tackles. The only time you saw him was when he punched the dude in the face and got the 15-yard penalty that gave away 3 free points right before half.
Yeah, and then that changed the complexity of the game. I got a law theory of lost production. You guys can coin that if you want to, But this is the thing. I feel that the temperament and all of the enthusiasm went out of the building when Tyron Crawford, hit I guess what you call Russell Wilson.
First Seattle drive?
Yeah. So it's just one of those things where the NFL new ruling as far as the quarterback hitting the quarterback. We saw that the defensive ends, they played with less speed. They played thinking that if we touch this guy now, they're going to call a personal flag, a personal foul or what have you. I said personal flag.
Yeah.
They're going to call a personal foul on that on those plays. And I saw Jalen Smith. He was clearly, if he would have came in full speed, he would have had the sack, but he let up because he just didn't want to get fined or called for a personal foul, which would truly hurt the team. I think that the NFL need to change those rulings. And I'm not saying it just because we lost. And, of course, we had a personal foul that was called on our player towards the latter part, but I think that was just like one of those garbage time. We're going to do a filler call because the guy really just pushed Dak Prescott, and they say, oh, personal foul. But they're going to have to really change that ruling because I think that, our guys were getting home, but they just didn't want to tackle the guy. They they let up because they didn't want to have those fines. They didn't want to put the team in a bad situation, basically.
Yeah. What I tweeted during the game about that was basically Tyrone's mistake was he didn't rock the quarterback to sleep gently in his arms while singing him a lullaby and then tuck him in on the field with a nice kiss on the forehead. That's what was really lacking. And that's funny because I saw today there was a little bit of a viral video going around with like a guy and his girlfriend basically enacting just that. And I was like, oh, I should have coined that or whatever. It's on the sport. It's on the Dallas Sports Fanatic Twitter account if you want to look. That is out there.
Yes, indeed.
My timestamp preserves it. But yeah, so it's a joke how much that rule's messed up, and we haven't even had the worst case of it yet. Yeah, the Tyrone one was a horrible call, but it was on the first Seattle drive, and Dallas did get off the field without giving up any points. We get a makeup call in that degree late in the game. They had one where we had like an 18-yard catch to Cole Beasley on that second to last drive. And then right after, like on top of that, you had another 15 yards added for a hit on Dak, which was even less egregious, I thought, than the one Tyrone had on Russell Wilson. But they threw the flag. And, if you want to look at someone who's really suffering from this, look at the Packers and Clay Matthews. He's been flagged in every game, all 3 games for the same thing. He's like, I literally don't know what to even do anymore. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to tackle because he's driving through. He's not leaving his feet. He's not hitting them high. He's not hitting them low, hitting them with the shoulder, even trying to roll away in midair after he's seen that he's made the hit. So it's a mess for sure. But I don't know if it's something that'll be fixed in season because that doesn't usually happen. Could they do it? Yeah. You just got to take some of the emphasis off of it and tell the officials to scale back a little bit. But for whatever reason, it's not happening right now, and the whole league is in a little bit of disarray over it.
It's very subjective. And then on top of that, we saw when Tavon Austin, when he was running out of bounds, there's clearly a horse collar. And I'm like, come on, what a flag. I said, add 15 more, add 15 more. And the refs that looked at each other and said, okay, let's go.
Yep.
I was looking for that call, and I'm not saying we're not trying to nitpick or be ticky-tacky with it, but we saw how momentum can swing a game, and all it takes is 1 or 2 plays like that, 15 yards closer to the to your side of the ball, you can actually flip the field. And then on top of that, you're talking about valuable reps, because I really think that although we still was able to get him off the field, I think one of our players went down with an injury. After that Tyrone Crawford, quote unquote, personal foul or what have you.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the player, but I'll bring it up on another stream out there. But as far as the offense, I wanted to touch on that before it escapes my mind. Would you rather have a dominant left side, or would you rather have a decent left side of your offensive line? And I got a theory with this. We know for sure Lyle Collins can play guard. We know that he's a big, massive guy. We won't have to worry about his strength inside.
We think he can. He's also had a small sample size at guard. Remember, he missed almost all of 2016 with that, and then he was right tackle in 17, and now this year.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So if you move Lyle Collins to the left guard, now you have for sure that left side of the field is okay. At least Dak Prescott can say, okay, I can go through my progressions. I know for sure that I have more time to my left side of the field versus then that's my blind side. And you kick number 52 to the right. And now I do know that the Dallas Cowboys
to right tackle.
Yeah, to right tackle. Yeah. So what will happen with the Dallas Cowboys? They're not going to change that because it's in the middle of the season and they say all our off-season program dictate that we don't want we don't want to regress in that factor as far as number 52. We want him as left guard. So
sure, but do you really want to throw Connor Williams right now to every team's best pass rusher? Because that's what he's going to face on the right tackle.
That's what I'm saying. Would you rather have a great left side of the field, or would you rather have a decent? Because right now, the way Lyle Collins is losing, he's losing on the right side, whether it be a penalty, whether it be a whiff on a block, or whether it be just flat foot, just not getting his hips out and kicking out to the right quick enough. I think just naturally with my eyes, and I'm not the greatest scout of offensive lineman play, but with my eyes, I can think that Connor is a little bit quicker than Lyle.
He's quicker, but he's also smaller and not as strong right now. And so if you're talking about like in the future, would that be an option? Maybe, but I doubt Dallas considers it because they're ironclad on where they see their guys.
True that.
And it only took Chris Richard coming in to finally move Byron Jones back to corner from safety because Dallas insisted that Byron was a good safety. He wasn't. He just wasn't. And he's a much better corner. He's been rated much more highly in by Pro Football Focus as far as he's not a lockdown corner, but he's a very competent, good technical corner in that regard, good jam. And it's helped him out tremendously, but Dallas keeps this idea of where they see their guys. And for right now, Connor Williams on right tackle, quicker or not, he would be getting whipped because we see him getting overpowered inside. It would be like that, I think, even magnified on the outside right now. Moving forward, maybe that could change, but he's got to build some size and strength to him. That's something you probably see year 2, year 3 from him.
Yes, but just like, who played right tackle his rookie year? That was big number 77, Tyron Smith. He played right tackle. But, it is what it is because I know for sure the Cowboys not going to change that, like you said.
Yeah.
So moving forward to next game, we're going to have to see the emergence of Bryce Butler. Maybe he can be that X factor, right?
Man, X factor is a strong word.
It really is.
In this offense, X factor could mean anything. So, we might look at that and say, hey, this guy got us an extra 27 yards receiving. That's your X factor. Like, he had 2 catches to get 27 yards. Unless one of them's a touchdown, I don't even want to entertain that thought.
Right.
So, I don't know. I kind of view it as they're just going to have to build and see what they can do because there are so many parts right now. The line will get better. If they keep this core together, which they're all signed and under contract for a good while now, they'll get better. That'll improve. That'll help the running game a little bit. But what they got to figure out is the coaching as far as who the coaches are, what the play calls are, and is Dak the right signal caller? That's how I look at the offense. I wanted to pivot real quick, unless you had something else to say.
No. We can pivot
so
and move around.
This popped into my brain when you were talking about kind of an intangible player and all of that. Now, we talk about guys that typically fly under the radar, but I wanted to kind of shine a spotlight a little bit on a guy that we've been, less so these days, but we're pretty critical of when he was drafted. Leighton Vander Esch had himself a game yesterday. Now, we didn't notice it because, we were getting pretty much embarrassed on national TV, but the dude he came in for relief of Sean Lee, who left the game with 11 tackles and 6 of which were solo. And in Lee's case, what did he do? He tweaked his other hamstring. Now reports are he's going to be out for, quote, several weeks of action. So that means you're getting LVE right now, and you're going to see exactly what he can do. In relief yesterday, he had 11 tackles, 10 of which were solo tackles. As far as, I think James posted the stat earlier, he has, like, in the NFL for, like, his number of snaps, he has, like, the highest percentage of solo tackles in the NFL among linebackers. And in the last 2 games alone, 61 snaps of action, which were the 2 relief efforts of Sean Lee, he has 18 total tackles. So the dude is always around the ball. That's what they told us. It looks like he can cover. Now, there's a little bit where a couple times he kind of waited on the guy to get to him and brought him down, as opposed to attacking the running back in the backfield, so the running back would still get a gain of 2 or 3 yards, you know. And, you know, you want to have your guy go to the ball, but I understand he's a young player just trying to kind of stick to his assignment and do what he knows. Like, I know I can stop you if you come at me here, but if I dive at you, I'm afraid I might miss, you know, that kind of thing. But we're going to find out how good that dude can be. And here's the thing to consider. Sean Lee, if you were to cut him next year, you save $7 million. Sean Lee is out every year for at least a few games, it seems like. 2016, he could have started every game, but they held him out of the final game just to try and preserve him for the playoffs. So only 1 season in his career did he play all 16. Do you think, with Sean Lee being 31 years old and Van Der Esch being drafted not just as insurance for Lee, but as a future starter in place of Lee, do you see that being something Dallas needs to consider? If not from, you know, Lee might have something left in the tank, but do you consider it from the standpoint of, we just need to make sure we have our starter that we can rely on for the whole season, you know, and put Lee in bubble wrap?
Well, my thing is with this, when I look at LVE's tape, and it is exactly what you're saying. Explosive, fly out to the ball, got range. He's long. He looks like a bus out there as far as his length. And no one gets behind him. He attacks everything in front of him. And if he does greet somebody at a standstill, they're not getting around him because of his range. And I like that aspect of him. And he's showing right now that he's the reason why we drafted him, because of Sean Lee. I think that the Cowboys, this should be Sean Lee's last year, believe it or not. I love Sean Lee as a person. I love him out there as far as a student of the game, watches the tape and film and all these things. But to me, your best ability is availability, and by him not being out there, he's more of a detriment, because we live so much on a high level when Sean Lee is out there, but when he's gone, we're sitting there saying to ourselves, oh, well, there's the end of the road there. So now that we have LVE, now we can rest assured that the linebacking core is intact, you know. So
we think so.
Yeah, we think so. Well, I really think that the linebacker core still played decent, you know. And I think Kevin Frazier, he need to be part of the linebacking core, because he's a box safety. He can't play out in space. I already said that time and time again. He may think he got range, but he don't. And it's just one of those things where before all off season, I said that this team need these things in order to be great on this defense. They need to have backups at defensive tackle, and we also need some insurance as well as with the safety play, because if Sean Lee goes down, and I love Xavier Woods, but we still need some type of veteran help out there in the backfield. And we saw that cost us, although Dak Prescott didn't play up to par. But one can argue this fact right here. And I know we're talking about LVE, but one can argue the fact right here. If we would have had a safety that can come into the mix, that can cover out in space and range, that those 2 touchdowns that was caught out to the edges wouldn't have happened.
Well, one of those was on Kayvon, not on Xavier Woods.
Well, Kayvon, but I'm talking about now the other one play, Xavier Woods was caught in the middle. Yeah. Looking, and one can say, okay, with experience, they would have knew who to pick up on that guy. But I'm not going to go into details of that until I watch the all 22, because I only have the broadcasting view on that particular play. But outside of that, LVE, I think that he's going to be a very serviceable guy, and he's not going to be one of the guys, hopefully, and I'm praying that he won't be one of the guys saying, oh, I tweaked my hammy. Oh, my left knee this time, or my right ankle. You know,
that is the concern for me with LVE. Yeah. That was the biggest reason we were almost in revolt when they picked him, because it's not that we doubted his ability. It's that we doubted his ability to stay healthy. Right. He's a guy who played 1 healthy year of college. In high school, he was like, 7-on-7, because it was such a small high school he went to. So one good year of college, limited experience at the high school level in that regard. And all through camp, he was hurt. It was a groin. It was an ankle. It was, it was just any number of things. I didn't think he was even going to be on the active game day roster week 1 against Carolina. Right. And that was something that I was kind of starting to draw a lot too. Why are we overlooking this? This should be a significant thing that our number 1 draft pick can't make the game roster on opening day. And, it ended up being, look where we are now, Now you're looking at it and you're like, okay, this dude is not only we're banking on him so much that we're discussing, we can totally let Sean Lee go in the offseason because we got LVE,
Well, we'll see, man, because as long as Calvin Ridley going out there and it's explosive and doing all them things for the Atlanta Falcons, we're going to be really looking at ourselves like, oh, man, God.
A Sports Fury raid has started blowing up the Dallas Prospect YouTube account. Looks like the Sports Fury gave us a shout out, and we literally have had 40-something and still going people commenting raid, Sports Fury raid, and so forth. That's cool. Dilly guys. Shout out to Sports Fury for all the extra traffic.
Yes, indeed. We had to bring them on aboard. I know they got some frustration that they want to get out their chest and mind about this game too. So we're gonna have to bring them on aboard one day.
Yeah. Hey, guys here from the Sports Fury, how about you hit that subscribe button while you're here? Oh, okay. I see that you are. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I refreshed the page and it's like, oh, hey, that is happening. What's up, guys?
Shout out to y'all, man. We can
their numbers travel. Yeah, it's still going, man.
We can do a quick Q&A if you want before we wrap everything up.
Yeah. Let's do that. Gave the video a like. Thank you, guys.
Yes, indeed. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and join the notification squad. We do see a lot of Sports Fury on our end too as well. So I got over here. Let me see. What do you have over there? Because let me pull up mine.
Questions? I'm still getting the raid bomb right now, so the comments are flying by. I can't see when. It's all coming through as far as any questions.
All right, I have Miss Jackie Smith. She said, I sat and watched support where we gave out to Romo and didn't want to pay him $100 million. JJ gave it to him, and now 80% don't want to pay him the good money. I guess you're referring to Dak Prescott. Are you talking to Dak Prescott, or are you talking about Tony Romo? She said, put Cooper Rush out there, please. I don't know. I know we have frustration, guys, and I think that right now we all want to see, I guess, a new wave out there as far as quarterback play. But we're going to have to let this thing air out, man. We're going to have to see what Dak Prescott can do for the remainder of this year. That's just how it goes. I don't think that they're going to make a drastic trade or anything. What are your thoughts, DDP?
Man, Cooper Rush is not the guy you want to float out there. I'll be real with you. Mike White maybe can be a potential starter in time.
Yeah,
but he's clearly the third guy out right now, so that's one of those things. Hey, Saban Thomas, thanks for the donation to help grow the nation, as Law would say.
Yes.
But yeah, Cooper Rush isn't the guy. Mike White actually has a lot more arm strength and talent. He could be the guy eventually, but he's going to take some grooming if he's going to get there. So until he gets there, right now it would just be throwing him into the fire, to the wolves, whatever analogy you want to use. And I think it would only hurt his development if you did that. I don't think he's one of those guys you can throw out there to the fire and let him be
right.
What's the word I'm looking for? Molded by it or sculpted by it, whatever. I think you have to just kind of look at it from a more practical sense of who you've got on your roster. And right now, Dak Prescott's the best thing you got on the roster. And if the offense is unbearable and they suck and let's say they win 4 games this year, totally bottoms out, that's going to be hard to watch, just like 2015 was. But you know what? You'll get a nice high draft pick out of it.
Sure.
If you want a new quarterback, that's the way to go.
That will be the way. So with that being said, we got a big thing coming around this weekend. Do you want to let people know, or
how about you lead the charge on this one?
Yeah.
I think you got a little bit of a more clear thing, but yeah, we've got something to announce here.
Yes. you guys, y'all love Cowboys, right? And how about loving to be within that experience? We have right now this weekend at 2 o'clock at the Lava Cantina in Plano. We will have Bryce Butler, Jeff Heath, Cheeto Awuzie live in the flesh, whereas you guys can interact with them and talk and get your autograph signed. You know, all these good things. It will be out there in an event, whereas you will have me, Big Game James, and also D Dallas Prospect. Every legend was once a prospect. We'll be out there live in the flesh where you guys can, you know, talk it up. It's family friendly. It's at 2 o'clock on a Saturday at the Lava Cantina, and that's at Plano.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So I would like for you guys to come on out and support and enjoy the experience. We will have a whole bunch of things like memorabilia from as far as the Drew Pearson. He will be there, as well as we will have Emmitt Smith book signings too as well. Got some autographed signatures on Emmitt Smith books. So I'd like to see you guys out there at the Lava Cantina in Plano.
Yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to it. It's always cool to get out there and interact with, you know, all the viewers and everyone who watch us. But in this case, we're getting to do something a little extra special. We'll get some access to some of these players and, you know, former players, Cowboy legends in this case. And it just adds a whole new exciting element to it. I mean, it makes it feel more immersed, you know, like you say it all the time. We're not just commentating on this. Like, we are huge Cowboy fans in this case. So for us, this is like full immersion into, you know, exactly what we want to do as far as sports commentary, but also getting to be fans and get to meet these guys that we, you know, watch on Sundays or that we grew up idolizing, things like that. So yes, it's really cool. I'm excited.
Yes, indeed, Joe. So it's going to be like lights out, guys. I really like for you guys to come on out, show the support. That's the best thing that you guys can do, is just share this comment, share this information, share this content all together. And let's get this thing going one way or another, man. In closing, what do you have in mind for as this week, man? What do you have in mind, DDP, as far as before the game?
As far as like a schedule and everything, like yeah. what do you mean? Like, what do I have as far as the game?
Like, far as the scheduling, like what's going on, like when we're gonna do our predictions and all that stuff.
Oh, so gotcha. Well, Thursdays are typically when I would do it, but that doesn't work great for your schedule, so we can try to make a tweak. Maybe we do it like Friday or something like that, but we'll figure that part out. If Thursday doesn't work for you, that's usually when I do my preview and predictions and all of that ahead of time. And then obviously, like, this show's Monday is my recap day. Yeah, we'll take it from there.
Yes, indeed, man. So with that being said, Thursday or maybe Friday, we're going to join together and do another show, whereas we're going to talk about the prediction, who's going to win, and then we might also add in some extra spice this weekend on Saturday. I will see you guys out there. DDP, tell them where they can find you at.
You can find us on Twitter at Dallas Prospect. We also have Facebook, Instagram, all that. All those are going to be just the Dallas Prospect. Check us out as far as the website, thedallasprospect.com. If you want to read my writings and my articles on the Cowboys and Mavericks, you can find them either on thedallasprospect.com or dallassportsfanatics.com. Sometimes those make it onto Bleacher Report as well. Humble brag. But keep an eye out for those. Law, I know that you read them and like them and all that, and appreciate whenever you share them. It's always awesome as well. But yeah, as far as that, if you guys just want to help us grow and support everything, we got Patreon and all that as well. So we're going to keep grinding, and we're going to keep putting out the best content that we can. And it feels like we got some good momentum behind us now.
Yes, indeed. Let's get this thing going one way or another. I do know that we feel like we down and we feel like we out, but we Cowboy Nation, one way or another, we all bleed silver and blue. We're going to have to win this game. I think that maybe we changing everything around. Maybe we are a home team. Maybe we can get out there. I want everybody to be out there 95,000 strong, repping that silver and blue. I said it last time we won. Let's do this thing one way or another. This is your brother from another mother. No other. Don't look like Danny Glover, but I keep it cool with you guys. And remember, you all are listening into nothing but the best. Salute. We're out. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
Yes, indeed, man. We're going to get this thing going, man. It's gonna be live, man. Lava Cantina, Plano, all day at 2 o'clock. See y'all there, man. Be there or be square.